so many women hate their bodies, and they use exercise as a way to like beat themselves up.
Why do you think so many women hate their bodies today?
I think women are very vulnerable in a world that is not very friendly. Like the world's not a super friendly place, and that's I'm saying that like as a female that lives in Canada, so I'm in a really like privileged position.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't see nearly as much as the unfriendly world as there actually is.
Yeah.
But I would say we're in a more vulnerable position. We're socialized in such a different way to value our body at more than anything else. And that our body will be objectified through every aspect of our life. So whether you're a little girl or you're going through your teenage years, which are the worst years ever to go through as a girl, there's this undertone of objectifying, of you being objectified and you having to protect yourself because the world's not going to protect you. And so there's this like control aspect of like, okay, I have to control my body so that I can either be as safe as possible or that I can like, you know, be seen in a very specific way to not be objectified or, you know, attacked for whatever reason, right? And I've seen that for myself too. I've been trying to share, you know, meaningful movement and meaningful routines for the last 5 years, probably 6 years before that, on social media. And social media is like it's a terrible place because people feel very entitled to say whatever they want about the person that they're watching a video of. Some people are very kind, some people are very encouraging, and there's other people that are just really mean. And if I cared more about what those mean people were saying, if I was maybe younger, if I was maybe in that stage where I was more influenced by other people's opinions, that would be really hard. Like I know that there was a point in my life where those comments would have just hit me like bullets, and that I would have really struggled to like process that comment in an effective way that it didn't. So I don't know. There's so many things that would lead women to hate their bodies. That it makes me kind of sad, honestly. Like that's a reality.
How does this, you know, impact like a woman's confidence?
I'll speak from my personal experience because I came from a sporting background. Also came from like dance and cheer, and the dance and cheer world was very much about how small your body could be. And then when I like went into the CrossFit world, it was like, how much can you back squat?
Both extremes.
Right. It was it was a huge contrast. And in the cheer world, it was like, can you fit into the smallest outfit? Can you be the tiniest that you possibly can be? Then you'd go over to like CrossFit, and it was like, oh, Crystal, like you have such big, strong legs. Whereas if that was said to you in the dance or cheer world, you have such big legs, there was a negative undertone to it. And then the CrossFit world is like, you have such big, strong legs. I remember the first time someone said that to me, and I was upset. Like I was like, oh no, like someone has seen my big legs, but they were genuinely complimenting me. And it took, like, I did not know how to process that information. But then I actually started looking at the other women in the gym and noticing like how strong they were and how it wasn't necessarily how important like the aesthetics, but it was more about performance. Like what's my body capable of doing? And that was a really cool shift for me personally, because as much as I cared about being strong for like my knee and my rehab and lifelong, I also cared a lot about like what I looked like. I wanted to be very tiny and small, but I'm like a very short, sturdy girl. Like I'm sturdy. I've always been sturdy. And so that makes me a good lifter, right? It made me a really good lifter, but it made me a terrible cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I wasn't that, and so it gave me this opportunity to like actually embrace my body and what it had naturally was always there, which was I was always strong and I was always powerful, but I always saw it as a negative before because that strength came with like girth and thickness, right? And so in this community, there's a huge appreciation for it. And with that appreciation, it gave me the opportunity to learn to appreciate it through other people's appreciation. And that definitely helped me view my body in a very different way and view exercise in a very different way for myself and my own confidence, like to believe that I'm strong mentally, emotionally, and physically. I didn't have that belief system going into CrossFit or going into weightlifting, or to believe that I could be powerful. Did not have that at all. Or believing that I could accomplish something that's really hard, like a max attempt. You know, like doing like being faced with things like that just gave me such a different appreciation for my body that I had never had before.
Right.
Like ever. And that was, I would say that's like priceless. Absolutely.
And how did this translated in your day-to-day life with things that you could name, or like do you feel like this had an impact like beyond your confidence in the gym lifting weights for approaching this unfriendly world?
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever filmed a video and put it on the internet without believing that I was strong.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
You know, I don't think I would have ever taken some of those imperfect steps that I did to produce the content that I have. I don't think I would have ever believed that it had worth or value. And so I think that it translated in so many ways, but I think a big part of it was my willingness to show up in the world and be seen. Because for myself, for a lot of my life, I was either trying to be as small as I possibly could be, take up as little space as possible, or just trying to hide and conceal my body. And if you can't really do that if you're filming yourself and then putting it into the internet. Like you can't really hide. Yeah. And so with that new appreciation for like, oh, I am strong, I am capable, I am really powerful, I think it definitely gave me a much better foundation for my willingness to take that imperfect action to be seen, if that makes
yeah, absolutely.